Hello, everybody. Welcome to the closing keynote at Netroots. I am Cenk Uygur, host of the Young Turks. Also host of MSNBC at 6 o'clock. So I want to talk to you guys a little bit. I'm going to be your MC tonight. I'm going to introduce a couple of people throughout the night. We've got a great guest coming up for you next, who's a bit of a surprise, who is one of the good guys in Congress. But I want to talk to you just a little bit about what we've seen at Netroots so far here. Two themes that I really liked and want to emphasize. One, I understand we've been talking about campaign finance reform. I could not be happier about that. Senator Feingold gave a great speech on that. I couldn't agree more with him. And look, as Vince Lombardi said about winning, it isn't everything, it's the only thing. I think, unfortunately, we're going to lose on every single issue unless we win on campaign finance reform. Corporate money has bought our politics wholesale. And look, people, I want you to understand this guy. I think this is really important. You know, there's these talking points that go around, and I think a lot of us believe it too. Oh, liberals are harder to organize. It's like herding cats, is the famous old comment. And there's a sense that liberals are weaker because of that, and that we're supposed to give in to Republicans, and that that's the way it's always been. I want to explain to you right now that that is nonsense. That's a lie, okay? Liberals in this country have had a history of enormous strength. First of all, our founding fathers were liberals. They were the most liberal people in the world at that time. They put together a secular country, and they said that we will have all the rights enumerated in the, of course, in the Bill of Rights, in the Constitution. It was the most liberal document the world had ever seen. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, and the list goes on and on. But I want to get to recent history, because FDR made an enormous difference in the way we run this country. We had the New Deal, and it doesn't get any stronger than FDR. When were big business interests attacking FDR at the time? Oh, you better believe it. They were attacking him more viciously. They plotted a coup against him. And what did he say? He said, I welcome their hatred, and I'm coming. And he came and he did a New Deal, and he did it for this country and the middle class. And what did we do? We created a middle class. And between 1947 and 1977, do you know that the bottom fifth grew, their income grew at a higher rate than the top fifth? That seems unimaginable now, right? It grew at 116%. The top fifth only grew at 99%. But look at what happened. Actually, all the boats were lifted. When you care about the middle class, and Democrats cared about the middle class, they fought for the middle class. Now, FDR did that, and then even up to the 70s, liberals were so strong, they got Richard Nixon to pass the EPA, to start the EPA. Can you imagine? I mean, you had Ralph Nader running roughshod in the 1970s, seatbelts, OSHA, and the list goes on and on of all the regulations we did to help real Americans. What was the difference? Why did it change? People say Ronald Reagan. No, it was pre-Reagan. Two Supreme Court decisions, what I call the original Citizens United, made all the difference. In 1976, Buckley versus Vallejo said that political speech was First Amendment speech, and that you could spend money on politics, and that was the equivalent of First Amendment rights. The disaster began there. Then in 1978, First National Bank of Boston versus Bellotti, they said that corporations could spend money on politics, and it was their First Amendment right, which is nonsense. Corporations are not human beings. They are soulless machines. And they are destroying our country. And it's time to fight back. Since 1978, since that decision, corporations have been taking over slowly. And the way they took over is they bought almost all of our politicians. And that goes towards our second theme. Look, Washington at this point is nearly hopeless. You look at the Republicans' wholly owned subsidiary of corporate America. There isn't a single thing that they actually care about ideologically. They don't have a single principle. It isn't about that, because I could show you case by case, issue by issue. When you go down the list, is it based on conservative principles? No. It's based on corporate principles. What does the guy who signs my paycheck want me to do? Because he's my boss. They say free market. They don't believe in the free market for a second. Look at the oil subsidies. $45 billion at a minimum. I thought they cared about balanced budgets. When it comes to giving $45 billion of our money to the biggest oil companies, the most profitable companies in the world, do they care about that? Hell no. Republicans hate balanced budgets because they like to take all of our money and give it to their corporate donors. So, free market. We're talking free market with the Republicans? The Republicans hate the free market. What they love is saying, hey, Halliburton, what do you need? You want me to start a war for you? I can do that. You'll make a lot of money. Lockheed Martin, what do you need? ExxonMobil, what do you need? Koch Industries, what do you need? You sign the paychecks and I'll do your bidding for you. Now that's 99% of the Republican Party. When it comes to the Democratic Party, I got bad news for you. It ain't much better. Now, there are a couple of good guys. There's no question about it. You're gonna hear from a couple of good guys tonight, okay? That's part of the reason that they're at this convention. And then there are some fighters who are neither Democrats or Republicans. Obviously, the best shining example of that is Bernie Sanders. But I got bad news for you. If you're relying on politicians, whether they're Republicans or Democrats in Washington, to do the right thing, they ain't gonna do it. They work for the people who sign their paychecks. They get elected based on money. That money comes from corporations. There is only one issue in this country: campaign finance reform. Until we take that money out of politics, we're going to lose on all those issues because they got more money than we do. And for example, just last quick example on this, Social Security. Are you guys seeing what's going on this? The AARP now saying that it's okay to raise the retirement age? They're supposed to represent senior citizens, and they're selling them out. And don't let anybody tell you different. It is a wholesale sellout of senior citizens. Do you know that if you raise the retirement age from 65 to 70, you know how much it costs every single American? Over $63,000. They're coming to rob you. And why are they robbing you? Well, because there's a class war going on, and it's on you. I don't know if you know it. They have redistributed the wealth to the very top. I can show you tax graph after tax graph. What happens? The rich pay less. The corporations pay less. You know who pays more? For example, the number one tax that has gone up as a percentage over the last 30 years? Payroll tax. Why? Because that's you guys. They love it when you pay the bill. They hate it when corporations pay the bill. So if a Republican comes and says, we got to raise the retirement age, you know what you do? You fight them, okay? If a Democrat comes to you and says, we're going to raise the retirement age and rob you of tens of thousands of dollars, you know what you do? You fight them. And if AARP, the so-called representatives of senior citizens, comes and tells you we're going to rob you of tens of thousands of dollars by raising the retirement age, should you fight them? Hell yeah, you should fight them. So I love what's going on here at Netroots because there's a recognition of that. And there's a recognition that you've got to take the fight to the local and state levels, okay? Now, there is a shining example of what has gone right in this country. It's called Wisconsin. I am discouraged by at least 90% of what happens in Washington, but I am greatly encouraged by what happened in Wisconsin. So, Koch Industries, et cetera, give money to Scott Walker. He comes in and says, what do you need me to do? You need me to hurt the workers again? You need me to take away from employees again? You need me to cost jobs again? What do you need me to do? I'm here for you, sir. And we saw it perfectly with the call that pretended to be David Koch, and then Scott Walker says, yes, sir. How can I help you, sir? Who else can I hurt for you, sir? Because you know why? He was talking to his boss. But what happened? People fought back. And they said, not this time. Not on our watch. That's what I need all of you to do, wherever you are, whatever city you're in, whatever state you're in, whatever issue it is. I need you to stand up and say, I don't care if help's not coming from Washington. I don't care if it's not coming from the guy who promises change. I don't care if it's not coming from the Democratic Party. I don't care if nobody's coming. I'm going. Here are the only people who are going to stand up for you. All of us together. All the people in this room, okay? And we have great organizing ability now, whether it's through Netroots, whether it's through blogs, whether it's through the internet. They did it in Egypt. They did it in Wisconsin. We could replicate that everywhere. Don't wait on anybody. Go stand a post.